क्या आप जानते हैं कि हमारे खाने में ही जहर है? द बिगेस्ट टर्मोइल एंड द चैलेंज विच द वर्ल्ड इज फेसिंग टुडे is the increase in the instances of lifestyle disease. You look at our country, young people are dying of heart attacks. People at 20s and 30s are having diabetes and cholesterol issues. Gastro, every second person has a problem. Why these problems is happening? Three reasons: what we eat, what we breathe, and what we think in our mind. So what we breathe is a problem related to pollution, which a lot of world bodies are working on this. What we think is a matter of maybe meditation, spirituality, and mind control tricks. But what we eat, there is hardly anybody addressing. So our concept, KSKT Agromart, Kisan Se Kitchen Tak, is trying to address this problem by creating a supply chain and market linkage between the farmers who wants to grow healthier produce, who wants to do jaivic farming, natural farming, as we know. Once upon a time we used to say mere desh ki dharti sona ugle ugle hire moti, but now with in last 40-50 years, with a lot of MNC pesticide companies and the chemical fertilizers and the growth enhancers and the weedicide coming in, and the whole agriculture industry has been taken into grips by these companies who are supplying chemicals for farming. And what those chemicals are doing, they're basically entering into our food through two ways. One, systematically entering into the fruits, veggies, or the grains because it is absorbed by their roots, and two, on the surface of it. So that is what we are consuming is a slow poison, and it affects our health, immunity, everything. And that is why you see the increased instances of this. So we thought that let's work on this and try and create an ecosystem which can motivate फार्मर्स कि आप लोग जैविक फार्मिंग की तरफ आइए, नेचुरल फार्मिंग की तरफ आइए. और उनका बिगेस्ट चैलेंज ये है कि वो करना चाहते हैं. इनफैक्ट जब मैं टाटा स्टील में एज अ सेल्स हेड काम करता था, तो वेन एवर आई यूज टू विजिट रूरल एरियाज, आई यूज टू ऑब्जर्व कि हमारे फार्मर्स अपने परिवार के लिए एक अलग तरह की खेती कर रहे हैं और मंडी के लिए अलग तरह की खेती कर रहे हैं. Because Mandi never gave them the right price for this naturally farmed produce, which is now we call organic produce, while they knew that this is not good for the health, and that is why for their family they were doing a different kind of farming. So that is when the seeds of this thought was formed, and we wanted to do it always. And 4 years back we decided to take this as a venture and created this. But the problem was that somebody has to create a supply chain and market linkage to take this product to a willing consumer who is willing to buy and willing to pay for it. And that's only farmer will get motivated. So in KSKT Agromart, this is what we are doing. We are using supply chain and the technology to create a market linkage between a jaivic farmer and a consumer who is willing to buy healthier food.
What is your solution and how do you implement it?
Okay, the solution has got two parts to it. One is farmers, because farmers know what is good or what is not good, but they are bound by their, as such, farming is not a very remunerative industry as of now, and mandi pay them only for the looks and the quantity of the produce. And when we do something in a natural way, because it's part of the ecosystem, so there would be some caterpillars, some butterflies, some insects which will sit on your fruits, vegetables, have a bite on it, so it will not be the best looking, and the production is also a little lesser. So obviously it's a costlier farming. So, but consumer also know that the consuming healthier food is a better alternative, because if you don't consume healthier food, if you are affecting your health and immunity by taking the slow poison in the chemically grown and chemically processed food, end of the day you have to pay that much to the pharma industry. So whether you pay to the farmer or you pay to the pharma, that's the choice, and doctors. So we thought that one side we need to bring that, instill that confidence in Kisans, that if you do jaivic farming, we will create a market linkage for you and we will get the right price for your produce. On the other side, educate consumers that switching to healthier food is a much better alternative than trying to save few rupees on buying food items and then paying probably 10 times of that to doctors and hospitals and pharma industry.
There is a reason why fertilizers have come. There is a reason why pesticides have become important. You can tell me why they're not important, but I name the reason as scale. So I'm a person of finance, and all of these negative things like oil and gas, like cement, these bring in scale. I feel pesticides, fertilizers can bring in scale faster. So I wish to understand how this will be economically feasible for scale, for mass. Can we even produce so much naturally? It is sufficiently priced so that everybody can buy.
So there is a reason the mandi bases its pricing on looks and quantity. Let's keep the looks aside for now. Why do you think it bases it on quantity, and how is that quantity measured?
No, both of you, Akhil and Vishud, both of you are right. There is definitely a reason which came in, and that reason was in early 60s and mid 60s when India had a shortage of food grain. So that time the biggest challenge was, and we had to import very low quality food grains from US and European countries. So that the biggest challenge was to increase the production in the farming. So the quick fix was that let's switch to chemical farming, use a lot of chemical fertilizers and pesticides and growth enhancers and weedicides and everything, and do more produce out of acre of a farm. But that has a lot of cons to it, because one, it makes your whole farming cycle get into a trap of chemical farming, because every time you use a chemical, next time you have to use more of this for the same effect. So that is one. Two, it introduces the harmful chemicals in the food which affects the health of the people who consume it. So there is a sustainable way of doing it, but probably at that time it was the right thought. But then everything has to balance. Santulan banna bahut zaruri hai. There is a section of society which cannot afford costlier food. So
I would say a
large section of society which cannot afford costlier food. For them, it was right at that time to increase the food grain production in multifold by doing whatever we could do at that time. But then, if you actually get into the depth of the natural farming can give you higher production than chemical farming if it is continuously sustained over 4 to 6 farming cycles. But the point is, ecosystem was not developed. The mechanization of farms was not there. The crop planning was not there. The intracropping techniques were not there. The easiest way which we found was, and it was also interesting for the companies who were pushing their chemical fertilizers and pesticides in India, the MNC companies. So we took the easiest route out for increasing production. The sustainable route is switching back to Javik farming, and Javik farming, it is a proven fact. If you do a proper integrated natural farming where you use all the regenerative natural elements into the farming, it can give you more production. And plus, it actually creates a balance in the entire ecosystem, the earthworms which are there in the soil. If you do 6 cycles of chemical farming, those earthworms are gone. They are below 8 feet. So you have to do 6 cycles of natural farming to bring them up back to the soil. And these are the earthworms who produce all the macro and micro elements required for the plants to grow. So yes, we took the short route, but probably that was required at that time. But yes, it can be balanced, and people who can support natural farming, who can pay little extra to our farmers today, and probably once the ecosystem is built, then even the cost of natural farming would be equal to or lesser than chemical farming.